Armin. Nice to meet you again.
Hi, Peter. A long time no see.
Yeah,
Servus.
same time, same station.
Same time, same station. Yeah. Yeah, I like when you have it always at the same day time, then you can prepare and it's a fixed thing. So you don't have to think and don't have to reschedule. Simply every time the same. It's fine.
Yes, it's easy going. That's why I love to make podcasts with you, Armin.
Thank you.
Armin Sensei, or how you say it?
No, I'm only
Sensei
Armin.
Armin.
No, I'm only
Armin's son. Armin's son.
No. I'm only Armin. There is nothing behind it before. Yeah. I have a second name, which is Michael, but then I don't use it. But I'm not Sensei, I'm not son, I'm not a master. No, I'm only Armin.
Sensei, as I read, is you say to an older person than you, older person than you can say Sensei.
Yeah, then I need to say Sensei to you, right?
Just for a few months.
Yeah. You know.
Okay. I just can tell you I'm really happy because we get a lot of comments, a lot of views.
Yes, and positive. People like what we do.
Yes. I don't understand why, but it is like that.
I think because it's, first of all, they know us personally a bit better. I mean, what I show in my video reviews is me, but only a part of me. And this is then in an interaction with another archer, you have different information levels and whatever you tell, because I would never in a normal review say something what we talk. So that's why it's quite interesting. I think people like to hear, and as many people say, there's always some small things they can pick out of it and take for themselves, some hints or some tips which they like. So
I think they like the unscripted, the unplugged thing.
Yeah,
they like that we don't have a real plan, but we just talk about archery.
We have a master plan. We simply talk
but
as
they
we
don't.
want.
But they don't detect the master plan.
And not the master plan. If we simply talk what we like, this is the master plan.
Yes. And influence them to the good, to their better good.
Of course, only.
So what's the subject today?
Because it's I get many questions always about arrows and which arrow for what and why and how and what material, and that's why I thought you build your own arrows. You told me last time that you make your nice wood arrows or you use these aluminum arrows. That's why I directly wanted to ask you now how did you get to arrow building and how do you build them, what do you use, and so on.
Okay, so I have to start with the more difficult part in making wooden arrows, because making carbon arrows or aluminum arrows, it's very simple. But when you like to make really good and hitting wooden arrows, it's difficult. Because back then when I started archery, you ordered shafts from Rose City, Oregon, cedar shafts, and they were just great. You know, they were spined in 5 grain of 5 pound steps, and they were weighted, and but the quality went down, and it was back then like this, but today it's just more like this. If you want to make about 30 good arrows, real matching similar arrows, you need to order 100 shafts.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you order 100 on material. What wood arrows is about wood arrows. I only stay with cedar, because I tried everything. I tried spruce, I tried Douglas fir, I tried some exotic or some ash and oak, everything. Cedar arrows are, in my opinion, the best arrows.
Yeah.
And back then, in the 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s, they were made of fallen trees, you know. And the outside they were rotten, and they took out the core and the unrotten core and doweled out this arrow sticks. So you order 100 So you have 3 dimensions. You have 5/16, 11/32, and 23/64. So
Yeah.
this is this
Millimeters
wood.
would be easier, but yeah.
Yeah, but they are sold by these
I know.
measurements.
Yeah.
So depending on your draw weight, you can get 5/16 for up to, I think, 40 pounds and so on. So you have to check out what kind of arrow you like.
Yeah.
And you have to decide on which side of the force you want to be, on the dark or on the bright side. I'm on the dark side. I need, if I have to choose between an 11/32 or the thicker ones, I would prefer the thicker and heavier ones.
Yeah.
But if you like the lighter ones, you stay with the lower, with the smaller dimension, smaller diameter. So then you got these arrows. Then you check them about straightness. On straightness, in most cases you can bend them straight, but they are straight in most cases. Then you sort out where the grain is running out of the arrow. You need shafts. The grain is running straight through to the end. Okay, then you have to spine them. You need a spine tester, with the weight in the middle, and then I spine them. I spine them very, very exactly. But then after it, and I sort them together. Say, okay, it's 75. Okay, I put the 78 pounds to the. It's your decision.
Yeah, of course.
If you are able to shoot that good, that 3 pounds in spine is deciding if you hit or not, you're a very good archer. Okay, when you have done this, pardon?
Or a bad archer. When you can't or when you can't compensate for the little spine difference or weight difference.
Yes. I think you can compensate easier the weight difference than the spine difference. But and the next thing is, you, with every arrow you want to build or you want to use, you have to know what your goal is. If your goal is to hit something about in 20 yards, it's a different game, because at 20 yards the arrows will go straight into the bullseye. But if you shoot 40 yards, it's different. Spine is more a problem. Okay, you have them spined for stiffness, and you have weight them, and it's the same with the weight. You decide, okay, it's some grains there, up or lower or higher, it's okay.
It's a natural material, you never get it completely matching. So
yes, when I have done this, I take a pencil, and when I spine them, I write on 420 and so grains when I weigh it, and so I have 2 numbers on the arrow end, and then I can sort them. So from 100 you will get 2 good dozens or 30 arrows, matching arrows, same arrows. After then, if you prefer, you put a little stain on it, or you like them darker, or you like them like they are. I prefer the lightest, the brightest arrows you can make.
You find them easier. And you see them in the flight easier. Yes, this is what I don't like with black carbon arrows, because you don't see them.
That's the point. That's the point. So they are really beautiful arrows, very dark, and bird feathers or something like that. But they're beautiful. But you can see them in flight, and that not the finding is the problem, because if you have to look for an arrow, you have done a bad shot.
Yeah, it can happen that the target was a we shoot at high range. Sometimes the arrow goes simply through.
Up to 120 yards, it can happen, of course. No, so the next thing I do is I lacquer them. I paint them.
Okay.
I take I don't know, flooring paint, or I don't know how you call it, and you can do it with a sponge or with a brush or
Yeah.
something like that. And there's one thing, in my opinion, the surface of a wooden arrow has to be sealed, really sealed, not oiled,
Yeah.
not waxed. The other thing is, if you wax them or oil them, the glue, the feather glue won't stick on
Yeah,
it
of course.
because
Yeah.
there's oil on. And the other thing is that if you have a wooden arrow, a wooden shaft, you have a natural shaft, um, and you put oil on it, you weaken the arrow, you
Yeah.
weaken the spine because
Yeah.
moisture gets, even if it's oil, gets into the shaft, so the arrow will get weak. And I like the arrows coated so no moisture can get in, and the arrow stays always the same.
Makes sense.
So
then they
you
even
can have,
even when you store them, they don't start bending again, because it's a problem when you buy cheap arrows. They are not covered with anything, and you have them somewhere in your shed, and next day you check them and they look like a banana again.
When I see in some archery shops, they have totally unlacquered and unprepared shafts and feathers on and everything. In my opinion, it's a crime to sell them, but okay.
Okay. You completely enclose them in lacquer, which makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you shoot them into the wet grass and you find it half an hour later, there's no moisture inside because it's sealed.
Okay.
So next thing I do is I look at at the grain and make a pencil point to have the right nock placement, because the grain should be horizontal to the bow, not standing but laying to the bow.
Makes
then
stiffer
you
in
have this. Yes. Then you have this, like the pencil sharpener tool for the nock end. I put on this. I put on this taper and put on the arrow nock.
What always bugged me there is that they use two different angles for it. Why not one sharpener for both ends? There's always one slightly different for the tip, and for the nock looks easy. So bugs always drive me crazy.
I know why it is. Because the longer taper on the front end, on the point end, resists more violence, more power if you hit something. And the short taper, and you would need a long nock like this if you had the same taper on the nock end.
That's true.
Okay. And it's my opinion, I always use only kind of mercury speed nocks or similars, which have real big index lips.
Like you feel it very okay.
Okay, because if you have a back river and you have to shoot fast, you grab the arrow just the right way, because you feel this index and you can pull it forward and on your bow and you can really shoot.
Okay.
And if it's with fast shooting, that's the best thing. Okay, I put on the nock. Then I took a fletching device. If you prefer a straight fletch or helical fletch, or
what do you prefer?
I prefer helical fletch, but this, as you like it. It's if you use straight fletch, it's okay. And the very important thing is you use the right clamp for the left wing or right wing feathers. And most people don't know about it. If you have, so to say, how is that white thing called down here?
I forgot now again, but I know what you mean.
This side of the feather has to be in the wind. So when you shoot the arrow, the wind has to be on this side, because on this side you can't push the leather and from the other side you can't push the feather down.
Yeah.
So left wing, right wing, that's that thing.
Yeah.
So then I put on the 3 feathers. When I have one arrow finished with 3 feathers, I take a little knife and I cut the ends here of the feather and put on one
More
drop of glue.
Exactly.
So as we talked before, you don't need any binding or threading or something, because you never can get hurt with an arrow like this. It's smooth. You can't get hurt. Okay, and then I cut the tip taper, the front taper, and put on the tip with hot glue. And you can't use the hot glue pistol, but you have to glue you have to use the hot glue stick with a lighter and a gas light, and then put it on and you heat it again, and then you push on the tip. Yes.
And for the knock, you use Yoo-hoo or normal?
Yes, Uhu or yes, something like this. Everything will work. I found out super glue is a little brittle, but it works. The feathers I like to glue with super glue. Also with this tight fledge or fledge tight, or how you call that special feather glues. And I never use this fletching tape. I never have seen any arrow with a real feather where the feather don't goes out of line, because the fletching tape don't hold the feather securely, in my opinion.
You use 6-inch feathers?
I think these are 5.5.
5.5. Because we use maximum 5 inches, and for shorter feathers, we use mostly this tape because it's fast. You don't have to wait until the glue sets and whatever.
But I don't know.
When you see on our carbon arrows, they're all taped, but this one is straight. So, but there's not a problem at all. It sticks.
But if you calculate the time you have to use to put the tape on the feather, I don't know if you're faster.
It's simply when I was in Sylt at Yuksaka, we used Uhu, and we had 30 fletching jigs, and then it was always Uhu, 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 Uhu. And then we had some people working for us. And for me, one of these Uhu tubes lasted, I don't know, a week. And the others used it up in one day because they put way too much, and then the clamps were completely full of glue. And so for a not experienced one, it's a little easier, I think. But nowadays you get these glues where they have a small nozzle on it where you can really apply only a thin line. So maybe it's easier.
That's what I like with the super glue. You put on a very thin layer and tuck, and it sticks instantly. Exactly, you wait half a minute and you...
I only don't like it on carbon shafts because this gets the feather, this white part of the feather gets very, very brittle. And sometimes when the feather hits something, then it simply breaks away.
I know now the name. It's the quill.
The quill, exactly. Yeah, the quill.
Quill.
Yeah.
And
then the feathers simply break off. This happens to me because I shoot like a savage. Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, I know. And the other thing is what kind of feathers and what length of feathers and what kind of feathers you put on. It depends on what you like to do.
Yeah.
If you're
mostly
a target archer up to 70 yards, you will make. I have here very nice old English target arrow. You see, very little feathers.
Yeah.
Yes, 3.5 inch and a footed shaft. You can make a footing. I think this is from the 1940s or so. So if you are a target shooter, or today, they even follow the same philosophy, the 3D archers. They use a very light bow, and so they have to use very light and small feathered arrows, and they will hit a target easier. As we talked some volume issues before, we used to use the stuff we would took to go out hunting, and we separated between hunting archers and target archers.
Yeah, of course, it's a difference.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, on shaft materials, I can't say anything. If you make, we talked about in the past, if you make wooden arrows, it's wonderful. And you have another pleasure if you break them, see the arrow, it
always
smells.
smells. Yeah, it's always fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah. Pleasure and pain. Did you ever build a barreled and tapered shaft, where it's in the middle thicker and goes thinner in the back?
Yes. And, in the past, there were companies in the US, they made compressed cedar shafts. They were compressed from, I don't know, a big diameter. They were densed, and they had compressed, tapered, and something like that. And they had some sets of this. You wouldn't believe. You could shoot them in a concrete wall. They won't break. It was great.
Yeah.
But the work in tapering the shafts, in my opinion, you don't have the benefit what you put in that work.
I thought so too.
It's a lot of work, and
I have a few because Alibo or something, they simply sell them. They call them Streamline. It's nice to shoot them, but I would never build them myself. It's way too much.
And the next thing is, you see here, it's a replica of a medieval, war arrow. They put on this, this binding. That was okay back then when they didn't have
glue. Exactly, and no super glue. Then you needed to do something.
Nowadays, it's just you because you love it.
Decoration and looks nice. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Where did it come from that there are always 3 feathers on it right now?
I think it's not a difficult question. Okay, you start with 2 feathers. Okay, 1 feather. Okay, we should not discuss. I think
doesn't work exactly.
Okay, so the next step is 2 feathers. That's great, but if you have wind, it's horrible. So the 3rd feather divides the wind. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
If the arrow spins and you have 3 feathers, the side wind will not affect the arrow as much as if you have 3 feathers. Even more with 4 feathers, of course. But I don't know why some use 4 feathers. Maybe because they couldn't knock the arrow the wrong side. But if you're in a real hunting situation or something like that, it don't depends if you knock it that way or that way. The arrow will fly straight where you're shooting at.
So the odd feather or the cock feather does not have to be on the outside of the bow.
Yes, but in my archery schools, I never tell this to my clients. I would tell them this feather thing in the 3rd lesson because there are so many things to concentrate on, to learn. So you don't have to put this in their minds additionally. Oh, you have to check the arrow.
But does it make a difference? Straight. Does it make a difference for you?
No.
It only tears up the inside feather maybe a little, but is it really makes a difference?
No.
Because I
know a lot of archers, they say they make it on purpose. They just they shoot on purpose the wrong side, so the cock feather is on the bow.
I had even a bow from a German bow builder. It was from Büttner bow. He built nice recurve bows, and he made the shelf. And he said, look, with mine, you need to put the cock feather inside because then the shelf runs here nice down so you don't hurt any of the feathers. So, and that's why I always, and this is one of the comments I get most, oh, you had the cock feather in, what archery instructor are you? I said, listen, when you shoot an Olympic bow with a small arrow rest and you shoot your plastic veins,
and with plastic veins,
you need to maybe make sure that your cock feather is out. But here with a feather, it doesn't make any difference, at least for me. And this is how I teach. That's why our range arrows don't have a cock feather; they're all simply 3 white feathers on it. So you don't, as you said.
Oh, I don't know. In most cases, and when I make my own arrows, I only have 3 similar color feathers.
I mean, you feel the index. You feel the index on the knock, and you know it.
Yeah. And because I don't like, if you have an index feather, you have the impression the arrow wobbles.
Yeah.
Because you only see this one or the other
color.
2 feathers, and so it's a strange kind of view. And you don't need it, because if you have the index, it's perfect. It's perfect. And I want to add another thing about the arrows. There are 2 ideas, in my opinion. We talked about the archer's paradox. We talked about the arrows coming around. Yes, the archer's paradox and stuff like that. And in my opinion, I don't know if it's the best opinion, but it's my opinion. If I have to choose, I use the stiffer arrow. Why? Why I use it? Why I choose it? Because I like the power of my bow into the arrow and not into the arrow bending.
Yeah, of course.
So if I can train my brain or my shooting to use the stiffer arrow, okay, I have to hold a little bit more on the right, maybe, or on the left. It's okay. It depends on your shooting. So in every case, you can use the stiffer arrow. You get more out of your bow because less energy is transformed into the bending of the arrow. That's my opinion about stiffness and arrow spine. And
I think it's for me always, when you know what spine you need and you're not sure, always go a little stiffer instead of weaker. Because I saw it today. I shot
go to the stiffest, which flies straight out of your bow.
Exactly. I had it today because I shot range arrows. They have spine 600, and this bow I tested today is from Finland, and it's a horse bow. And I tried them with the 600 spine. Then you saw always the arrow going to the left. So I pointed at the target, but the arrow at 10 meters, and the arrow always made this movement and went to the left. When I shot a 500 spine, it went straight. So this is what I don't understand. Why is the higher spine number weaker? It's confusing for some
because
people.
Because the higher spine number, in my I don't know if I know it right, but in my opinion, is the higher spine number gives the grade of deflection.
Exactly. It's the distance
bending.
How much you can bend.
600 bends more than 500.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. Still.
Yes, and don't be frustrated if you order 100 arrow shafts and you get 24 to 30 out for your perfect spine you love.
Yeah.
So then you have another group. You have, let's say you need 50-pound spine. And then you have some 55 and some 45.
Yeah.
As long as you put them in one set and you shoot out the one set, what your real match is, and then you switch to another. After 3 to 12 shots, your brain corrects the different spine. Okay, it's very different if you shoot at 90 yards. No problem.
Of course.
No question. But if you shoot at 25 yards, don't
make a difference. Yeah, of course.
Don't matters. So you get out different groups of 100.
You could
the real too weak you give to another archer, and the real too stiff you give to a separate.
Yeah, but if it's too stiff, you could still use a little heavier arrow tip, and you make the spine a little weaker again. You only need to see: is this FOC for you important? Is this that the forward of center that the arrow?
I use the heaviest point I can get.
Okay.
So and on this argument, I also use the heaviest spine I can get. Not the heaviest spine, but
stiffest.
Let's say I have an arrow shaft for 70 pounds, and I shoot 50 pounds. I use a 175 grain point,
Mm-hmm.
and it weakens the shaft,
Of
so
course. Yeah.
it matches your bow.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you get more energy.
Yeah.
But it's a different philosophy. I'm in hunting,
Mm-hmm.
so I need a very heavy. I like a heavy, very heavy arrow,
Yeah.
and that's the difference. If you like to shoot very easy on 3D targets at 40 meters, it's a different game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
And as long as you shoot in this 28-inch range, there is a lot of documentation and spine charts and everything where you can find yourself easily. Because all for this, how you shoot arrow on the left side, there's so many spine charts and everything is written
Yeah.
down. And then I come
Yeah.
with my 36-inch long arrows, and then you need to check, they are spined. What are they then? They are maybe then you measure them still on, what do they do, 24 inches, or what is the distance when they do the spine test? 26.
26.
So they measure
Yeah.
it here. It doesn't help for me at all. You know what I mean? Then you need to
Yes, that's
yeah.
also a problem with the spine tester, because they're at 26 inches, but you need a 29 inch, and so
Yeah.
it's not so
Or you
easy.
need to compensate. You need to know then, okay, I need to add, or what this
Yeah,
is.
yeah. The best way to find out the best arrow for your bow or for
Mm-hmm.
your shoot is if you're in a kind of club or something, and
Mm-hmm.
there are archers, they shoot bows from 20 to 70 pounds, and you say,
Mm-hmm.
come on, let me try three of your arrows.
Yeah, of
Come
course.
on. And so, okay, I'm shoot 60 pounds or 40, don't depends,
Mm-hmm.
but the 55 flies best for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me reproduce your arrow, because
Exactly.
your arrow flies best for my
Mm,
shooting and my bow.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and with aluminum or carbon arrow, it's different. You have this code on it, and you have to find out what makes sense for your shooting.
Yeah. Too easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then is always, and you mentioned it before we started talking. Look what I have. See this long distance I have between the knock groove and the feather. Drives you crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes not much sense for the flight stability, I guess. Because when you see the Ottoman arrows, they have a very small fletching, and it goes even beyond the knock groove. So the fletching starts really back there, because back there it's important, because there the feather has the most effect. The further you go forward, the less effective it is.
Of course. And you get aeroflight like this.
Slightly, yeah. But on the other side, when you shoot thumb release, with 3 fingers, it's easy that you have your fingers there. But when you shoot thumb release, you need a little more real estate. Not that much, maybe, but these are wood knocks. But all my arrows have always this one, not that much. And then when I start here thumb release, and I always touch already the feather. So this is, but it's even the feather shape. You can cut them straight, and it's not a problem. But there's always a little more distance than the regular ones. That's why I always need to know, when we build arrows, does someone shoot 3 finger or thumb release, and we put the feathers always a little away, so they're not in the way when you shoot.
I showed it last time. This is this original arrow from South Korea, from Korean archers.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, it's also very long space here.
Yeah.
They make it like this because they also shoot thumb release.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. This is made of bamboo. I don't know a lot about bamboo arrows. I think it's the carbon of nature.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If you have a real, but I never had a set of bamboo arrows, so I could say it's like that or like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I look at this arrow, it's very strong, and yes, it's great.
Most bamboo shafts they start at 50 pounds, and then they go up to 80, 90 pounds easily when you have normal shafts. Yeah, but they are good for, especially, I said, when you shoot Manchurian style, or even with a Hankyu, and you have whatever an arrow which is 1 meter, then you need, of course, a little more spine, because then even a 60 pound in this length is then only for a 40 pound bow, then only, because then it's too flexible. But for these ones,
I have them
like
too.
bamboo.
And maybe one thing more I like to say, because we talked about a bright arrow. So you see, a black arrow looks really cool.
Nice. Yeah, we don't see anything.
Nothing to say against it. And especially this one, I'm very proud of this arrow. And it reads Rambo XX75 2210. It's an original arrow from a Rambo set.
Okay.
You know, back in the 80s or early 90s.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, you know, Sylvester Stallone had all this archery stuff in a little pocket, in a little bag on his back.
Takedown
and
arrows.
This arrow, you see, it's a takedown arrow.
Takedown arrow. Nice. Cool.
So you can
put
it.
Oh, that's slips. Cool.
It's an aluminum arrow with an insert, you see, and like a tent pole is, yes. But it works. Just very cool arrow. Yeah. But if you shoot this arrow, you can see them. You can see the arrow in flight, so you can train your brain to hit something.
Even depending on what target you use, you don't see them sticking in the target, so you don't know where you shot your first arrow. And then it's really tough to learn properly when you don't see your arrows. That's why we only have use these black carbon arrows for the range, but we have at least white feathers on it that you see at least the feathers. I would like to have white shafts, white feathers, that you see them flying.
And you know, that's what I also loved when I watched in my early days Howard Hill shooting. He had white arrows, and he used the white arrows. Why? Because you can see him on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see it in the movie, and if you can see it in the movie, you yourself can see it, or you also can see it, and so that's a great idea.
Yeah, even I had to change. I had some arrows, nice ones with red. These with this Ottoman war fletching orange on it, because the original ones had red feathers, so I put red feathers on it. But then I saw in the video you don't see this arrow anymore really properly flying. So change it now to white, bigger feathers, that you see them, because in the video it's always interesting to show what is the arrow doing with the bow. Then it's already.
And if we talk about entertaining and showmanship, you know, I only used white feathers because of this.
Yeah.
And when I made, I think it was in 2008 or 2009, when I made my first photo session, I had only white feathers. I shot with white feathers on movie and on photos. I said, oh, it's great, but you know, white is just white. And then I switched to the orange feathers. And put on the orange scarf.
Yeah.
And so in every picture, in every photograph, in every movie, you have
orange feather, of course.
Colored, great center.
Corporate design, corporate identity, normal.
Yes, yes. This, and if there are 10 archers standing with me, they look at the one guy with the scarf.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Normal.
So that's an entertainment trick.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Imagine you have no scarf and shoot only Rambo arrows. Nobody would look at you.
Yeah.
It's like this. Yeah, okay.
So you build, like you say, corporate identity.
Yeah, it's when you do shows, you need something that people recognize you. I mean, why does McDonald's do it everywhere? Where you see this golden M, you know it's McDonald's. So of course you need something.
You have to stay the same, so they.
Of course.
So they
know you. They recognize you again as I saw him already. I know him. Yeah.
The same thing with the sunglasses.
Yeah.
I thought it's like a kind of a Zorro mask. It's like a superhero mask. If you always wear whenever I was in China, I only took the sunglasses off in my hotel room. Even at night at the restaurant, never I took it off. And so it was like a superhero thing. And so the people think you are like this. And I said, you know what I said? I said, I have kind of sensitive eyes. I see every shot just in slow motion, so I have to use these sunglasses because it's the life is too bright for me.
People
oh, really, really? Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. see. Okay.
Something more about arrows, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Arrow, oh yes, one more theme, one more subject, arrow length. Back then, target archers used to draw the arrow, on the arrow shelf. So the point wasn't out of the bow, don't protrude out of the bow, but was inside the shelf.
Yeah.
So they use the shortest arrow they can use. And there's one thing. I don't talk about Eastern archery because you have this 36-inch drawing. So I talk about Western archery. So, and if the people get very straight up, and a lot of archers think the longer they draw, the better it is. It's not true. Howard Hill, who was an expert, found out everything over 28 inches is not easy to get the right arrow and so on. And if you think about that, if you move forward and you shorten your draw, you can shoot upside, you can shoot outside, you can shoot in every direction. If you like this, you can shoot down. You know what I mean? So the shorter the draw, the more maneuverable, the more fluid can you be. Your shooting is. And so when I make hunting arrows, I make them 1 inch longer. Hope there's no point on.
So that the broadhead doesn't scratch your fingers.
Yes. So of course, because you have to have this space for your fingers in front of the bow because your hand is there. So these are 1 inch longer. So for usually I make the arrows 1 inch longer than my real draw is, and I let protrude the point out of the bow. But experimentally, I made some which are very short, 26 and a half inch, and I draw totally inside on the shelf. It's also interesting. It's another style.
We here at Mart Archery, the standard is 28 inches, which most people have, and we always had the arrows 29 inches because for safety reasons, as you said, he doesn't listen, middle finger to the corner, and he stands like this, and then he overdraws, and then he gets the arrow inside of the bow, and when he lets go, then a carbon arrow, then it can explode in front of his face, or you never know, and that's why we always keep it an inch longer. So you're a little more safe, and I don't care if the arrow is a little slower or if it doesn't safety first.
Back then, when I used to shoot a lot on 3D and so tournaments, I also made them 1 inch longer than I needed them because you can break them one time and use them again.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you don't shoot a lot and don't break a lot, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. So now we have the length, the spine, the weight, the colors, the nocks. Do you shoot sometimes wood nocks? No, self nocks?
No. I don't know why I should do it.
No.
And to me, you see that I can show you the difference. To me, this, I don't know if you can see it here in the video. These old Mercury speed nocks, they are like a funnel, you know?
Yeah, I have a slightly V at the
like
back.
that. So you find easily on the string. And if you like to shoot fast and compare it to a nock like this, it's like this. You don't find with the string in. And the crucial point is always the knocking if you like to shoot fast.
Of course.
So I really love this old style Mercury nocks. And similars. This is another brand. I even don't know the name. I have, I think 500 of them and use them. You see what the funnel is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, and on the nocks, maybe one thing has to be said: never bend the nocks because they don't fit the string. Put some thread on the string, put some glue on the string, do everything, but never bend the flanks
they will
here
break.
of the knock, because you will break them, and
break
you
them
know you usually have seen what happens if your knock breaks with your forearm. It's horrible.
Look at this knock, huh? You like it? This is a funnel, huh?
Yes, I see. There was one guy who produced them.
This is the V knock from Vermeil. They're from
fundraising thing.
These are the fun knocks. Yeah, they're even bigger. They are so big that when you shoot them, I always hit my hand with it because they are so wide. These ones are quite narrow, but you can't go wrong when you knock, because they always, even when you hold them wrong to the string, clack, they will always go in the string. These are V knocks from Vermeil, but they have different. So there are a lot of knock producers out now. They build different knocks for every purpose.
If you use a big index and a good back quiver, you have no problem with knocking.
You can show me when we are in Netherlands. It's
Fairbouw,
Netherlands, and you show me how it's done.
We will see if it works out.
Now, let's hope that this COVID stuff is calm until then, that we can travel. You go by car, they say?
I think so. And yes, and I don't know if he gets enough
I think so. We still have time, and he promotes it quite nicely.
Yeah.
I think
he does a good job up there in Netherlands, I think. He makes good bows and a lot of variations of bows, different stuff.
Yeah, I like him. Sometimes I have a bow from him to review, so it's nice. Yeah. And even his arrows. So these as example are from Fairbouw, Netherlands. He makes nice stuff, and he makes even these wood knocks here. So if somebody likes to have this stuff,
this medieval arrow is also from Fairbouw, Netherlands.
Yeah.
He sent me an English longbow and I think a dozen of these arrows.
Nice. Yeah. And he was long ago when I started, I got my first Manchu bow, and it has 36-inch max draw. Then of course I needed 36-inch long arrows, and every normal bow dealer, whatever, bear paw or whatever you name it, you ask them and they, you don't draw that long. You only need 28-inch long arrows. I said, listen, I need 36-inch long shafts. You have them? Yes or no? Oh, I can maybe get some Kyoto shafts, these aluminum, this 1 meter. And then
there are East.
And then Fairbouw, Netherlands said, listen, I can make 36-inch bamboo, no problem, with Manchu fletching and everything. And I still have a few of them, but most of them broke. I got 12 or something. Most of them already gone. But it's nice, at least.
In Japan, I think a set of arrows is 4, no? It's 4 arrows.
I don't know exactly. Can be. I never ordered arrows in Japan. My Yumi arrows are from Hungary, so I don't know.
This is how is it name? Is his name? It's I don't remember. There's a good Yumi maker in Hungary.
Yeah, Peter Mezes or something like this. Yeah.
Yes, Mezes Peter. No, Paul. Mezes Paul is his brother.
Okay, and
like
Peter.
Paul. And yes, I know them both.
I bought 2 Yumis from
me. Yeah, I have one Yumi. He made for my former girlfriend because she was she did kendo and so she was in Japanese stuff and yes. I still have the bow, but I lost her.
Yeah, sometimes but you keep the better part. It's fine.
The longer lasting stuff.
Yeah, don't say. But from mine, the one of my assistants shot it then once, and then he broke the string, and the bow was bent. I don't know what happened. Sometimes I had some guests coming from China. Oh, Yumi, Japanese bow. I said, here, shoot it. And they, didn't know how to shoot. And then the bow was always crooked. And I tried to fix it again. And then I gave up. It's still here somewhere, but I gave it away to Martalci. So it's still there somewhere. And they were nice. He made these nice arrows and he made the tip and the knocks by himself. Made very nice stuff. But the Yumi was never for me.
And you still don't know if he says the truth. Is it like that in Japan? And so I don't know. I don't know.
And even with this glove, I had my problems. With this glove, with this Yumi glove, I don't know. It was not for me. So I gave up.
I think that Kyudo is a kind of, I say, robot routine, and the benefit of it was to stay calm and efficient under any condition.
Yeah, and at least they build up the muscle memory properly, because every shot is really repeatedly exactly the
really
same.
New. Really
but of course, they only shoot only 28 meters in their Kyudo ranges.
Yes,
so for this,
I know
they should be capable of always hitting the target, I think, because they always shoot the same distance.
And because of this, it's not surprising if they can hit the target blindfolded, because if they always shoot at the exact same place with the
he stands on the same position, he does always the same, he shoots the same bow, the same arrows in the same direction, of course, would be capable of. True.
So we don't disagree today.
No, not a lot. No, I simply shut up. No, it's fine.
No, you have to.
If I find something, I tell you. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's good. All good.
So where are the different opinions about arrows? I don't know.
No, they need to hit the target, and they need to do what they are meant to do.
Yes.
So, and for me,
back then when Howard Hill, in Howard Hill's days, they hadn't spine tested, as far as I read about. So Howard Hill made himself 100 arrows and put a cardboard box out about 80 yards, and he shot that 100 arrows at the cardboard box. And every arrow that hit the box was okay. The arrows that didn't hit the box, he shot again.
Okay.
Because he could make a mistake, or
of course,
so he sorted them out like that. And the arrows at the third time he couldn't hit the box, he gave away.
Okay, makes sense.
A good idea if you think about it.
It's not so bad. At least he knows that these arrows work for him or not. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And so
I had when I was working in Sylt at Yuksaka, Peter, the owner, always bought a box of mixed spined arrow shafts for the range for the kids and to shoot. And then he asked me, so now you need to spine them all in kind of bundles. Me like weak, medium, stiff, and it was always plus minus 10 pounds was always fine.
And you know what? I'm not the kind of esoteric or spiritual guy.
No, totally not. Would be nice if you would have a slight scent of peanut, but hey, it's what can you do?
But I have it, as I tell you now.
Listen up, guys.
Even Sexton Pope found it out, because they built a shooting machine back then in the 1920s, I think. A shooting machine, and Sexton Pope wrote, a good archer is able to compensate the shot, the arrow, the bow, and something like that.
Needs to be.
And and if I put in my back quiver 10 different arrows, a very light one, a very heavy one, whatever. I'm sure our brain works so much like a computer, like a sensor. You draw out the arrow from your back quiver, and instantly your brain checks, oh, wait a minute, this arrow is heavier than the last one.
Yeah, of course.
And you compensate it in shooting. And if you know that your arrow's too weak, or too much spine or something like that, you compensate it by your own, even if you don't think about. So that's very spiritual.
I think it was essential back in war times, because what chance did you have that you always have your own matching arrows for your own bow, for your own shooting style? Maybe you got a set of it from the arrow builder, but then in battle or whatever, you run out of arrows and you pick up arrows from the floor, and then you feel, okay, this is a heavier one, so I need to point higher, or this is a light arrow, and you need to be able to compensate for it.
Yes, but if you think about war bows, I think, okay, let's say
not
they
war
had
bows,
100
but in
pounds.
war. Yeah.
Okay. But if I think about the English war bows, and
Okay.
so, okay, and I don't think they are a lot heavier than 100 pounds. Okay, there's some 120 and some 90, and okay. But if you have for usually the war bow, let's say, is about 100 pounds. For usually the draw is about 29 to 31 inches. Okay. So if the Fletcher made arrows from a spine from 80 to 120 pounds, they will match every bow.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if the arrows are similar, the archer made some shots before the battle, and they say, okay, it's like that. And
this is what the arrow is doing, and then he knows how to adapt to it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you forget anything about arrows?
So what else can I teach you?
You have so much knowledge, and I'm like a sponge.
It's horrible.
I'm
my
like
brain
an empty cup, and I like it that you fill my
like a dry sponge.
Exactly. I suck everything up. If I use it later, it's different, but at least I listen. Yeah. So you think that these warbow mania, which goes on, that they say, because I had this once, I did a comparison between a reflex bow and a longbow, and both had 40 pounds. And I said, how can you? These longbows had always 120, 150, 200 pounds. I said, yes, but if I shoot then 120, 150, 200 pound reflex bow, I would outperform your longbow again. That's why it's always a never-ending discussion. Did they shoot always heavy bows, and how long did they shoot them? I mean, I think when you're in battle, you don't know. It can take a whole day. I'm maybe capable of shooting 20 arrows with a 70-pound bow, but then I'm getting tired.
You don't should forget, every unit in a battle has its purpose, its plan. So if you take that classic scene, 2 knight cavalry hordes riding against and with the lances and the swords and so on. And on the flanks, outside, were the archers, and they shoot inside this battle. And I think in most cases they shot, I think so, but I listened to very, very experienced scientists who reconstructed this warfare. As we talked in the past, it was not true. They shot about 140 meters and put an arrow rain on them like you see in Hollywood. They stood at the flanks and shoot inside the battle, and they shoot at the most the target was, if the visor was open, they shot into the face, because they couldn't penetrate any armory. Of course not. Maybe at the horses. So a chaos came out of it. But they don't had an arrow rain. They shoot from the flanks inside the battle.
And what distances was this? 50 meters, 100 meters?
I think, no, I think 50 to 40 meters.
Okay.
Because, if the knights are fighting against together, they don't have any idea to look at the side for an archer.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe he shoots inside, like a sniper today. They fight, and the sniper shoots from 1 kilometer down, bam, this one, and like that it was. I'm sure. Because that arrow rain idea, you see the arrow come, so you just have to raise your shield, and nothing happens. As you said in the past, okay, you hit the horses and there gets chaos and
yeah. I mean, this is the saying in China: before you shoot the rider, shoot the horse, because it's a bigger target. Of course.
Yeah. And I'm sure they were happy if they hit the rider or the horse.
Yeah.
If they hit something of this, is that they are happy, and they did their purpose. They did their duty.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything you glorify, or the English longbow archer or the Eastern archer, don't glorify some strategy or some equipment. Everything has its benefits and everything has its cause, and I don't know. The point with this legendary battles between the French and the English was that the French were hooked on the idea of the knight fighting the knight. And you know, a simple archer or a man at arms was not allowed to kill a noble.
Okay.
They had to catch the nobles, the aristocrats, and keep them alive because they could make a deal with their family and so
valuable people.
So a peasant or a war, how you call it, like a soldier fortune or a lower grade was not allowed to kill a knight.
Okay.
Like with the samurais, no peasant could kill a samurai. Of course not. And this was the same there. And the French were surprised that the English had these peasants, these archers who were not nobles, not noblemen, and so they shot at them.
Okay.
And I think in two battles, or in Agincourt and in Poitiers and somewhere, I don't know, I don't remember, they had this trouble. And there are great documentaries, I think even BBC, which tell us it was not the archers, it was the ground. It was the English were slightly on top of the French when they charged, and so they shot downwards, and so there were many parameters who led to this outcoming of the battles.
It's never only one thing. I mean,
it's not
nice to glorify archers because you have something to do.
But it's very romantic, of course.
Yeah, of course.
We as archers have to say it was only the bow, of course.
Hey, only my arrows. Victory. Yeah.
So they shot with 2 fingers or with 3, because victory is with 2 fingers. So maybe they shot with 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they shot with 3, but I don't know.
So the Turks shot this.
They always had thumbs up. Yeah, of course. But only with a ring. You're only allowed to shoot a Turkish bow with a thumb ring. I got so many comments on my videos when I shoot a Turkish bow only with my thumb. And I said, you can't do that. You need to shoot it with the ring. Or there is only for this purpose is a ring. I said, yes, I know. Imagine, look at my videos. I did several videos about thumb rings, but I simply don't like them.
There's not one drop of Turkish blood inside you.
The Turkish folk cities, tribes, there are so many different ones, and everybody.
Yeah.
So I mean,
this whole area in the medieval and in the old days, were many tribes and many.
But of course, I'm only allowed to shoot a Turkish bow with a thumb ring, and it needs to be then a Turkish thumb ring.
Maybe you should ask Erdogan if you're allowed to.
Yeah, that's true. I thought I asked Murat, but Erdogan is a better one.
But since we have the coronavirus, you hear nothing about Erdogan.
Yeah, it's not.
You hear nothing about Syria.
ISIS, nothing. Yeah, Syria will come again.
Nothing about refugees. Nothing. Everything is okay. Just the virus kills us.
Yeah, the virus is making us blind for what is going on about the new Silk Road, as example. They will come up with China, Russia to Germany or to Austria. They said that the new Silk Road maybe could end even in Vienna, and then they have this direct connection. But people don't want to see it. They don't want to listen to it. I'm still the one with the aluminum head on it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Should we
It's
answer maybe
horrible.
one question we got from the last comments or something? Because politics is a never-ending story.
Yes. Yes.
Which
Do you have a question from
one
the viewers?
we already an hour long, so an easy one maybe. What question did we have?
I had here one from Mark Ritz.
Mm-hmm.
He asked about target panic.
Okay. No, it's almost a topic for a whole. No, how do you deal with target panic?
No, I ask you. I talked too much. Let me know your opinion on target panic.
The thing is, for me, I'm settled in my mind. I'm not afraid or no whatever how small the target is. I don't care because I simply look at it. When I can see it, I know that I'm capable of hitting it. So I don't understand this complete target panic, but they say there are two different ones. This is one of missing the target and one not reaching full draw. And I don't know all of these things because once you settle your form, whatever, and it's in your muscle memory, you don't have to think about it anymore. And you look at this and it's fine for me. This is instinctive, intuitive, in whatever you want to call it, shooting, and that's fine. That's why for me, there is no space for a target panic. For me, how do you see it?
I'm sorry. I mean, I have to agree.
Oh my God, no, not again. It's getting boring. No, come on.
You know, one archer, one time, he was close to hit me because he told me about target panic. He has target panic, he can't release when he's on target. And so, and I said, look, boy, if you don't know about target panic exists, you can't get it.
Yeah. I didn't know either. I had to watch a video on YouTube about target panic that I understood what they're talking about.
It's like when a writer says he has a writing blockade.
You never had one?
No, it's stupid. It don't exist.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like it's another word for I'm too lazy to do, or I don't know what.
Is it maybe from Olympic something, but it doesn't matter, I think.
My opinion is this. If you're overtrained, if you shoot too much, maybe that's the cause, because you like to make it better than you make it and you can't release and something like that. But forget about it. It don't exist, in my opinion. It's a kind of manicure thing.
What I saw here at Malta Archery, we shoot these, we only have these, 3-inch dots on the target, and we shoot them the size of a tennis ball. In the moment you hang a tennis ball in front of this black dot, oh my God, it's so small. But it's only a mental thing. So the tennis ball has the same size as a black circle. And when you see then, we have this small, these throwing discs, they're, I don't know, 30 centimeters, and they have this yellow center. And we put them as foldable targets. I put them on 10 meters, and people feel quite safe to hit it. Then I say, okay, let's put it on 20. Oh, it's so far away. It's a mind thing. And of course, when I think far away, when I think I miss, it's the same when you shoot this corridor in the forest, and you see the tree left and right, and not the deer anymore. And you think, oh my God, there's a tree. I mean, where do you shoot then? You shoot the tree because you think about the tree.
You don't. Yes, you don't. You don't into the thing you like to hit. And that's the thing. And what you said with these targets is true. Look, this is the backstop. This is the target, and here's the dot. They can't hit the dot.
Yeah.
When I put an arrow here and a ping pong ball here in front of the target, and they shoot at the ping pong ball, they hit the bullseye every time because they have a point to focus on the ping pong ball, and every arrow is into the yellow, into the gold.
Of course.
So that's the thing.
Aim small, miss small. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we agree again.
If you're very spiritual guy, I always say to my students and clients, I say, if you are able to concentrate that much that you don't see anything around your target, you just see that dot you want to hit, that mark you want to hit. So you have a kind of tunnel view. You're not able to shoot outside of this tunnel.
Exactly.
Tunnel, if you make your technique nice.
Of course. Yeah. Another example we had here, he was, I think, 12 years old. Matthias, curly hair, and he was the most positive kid I ever saw. He was always coming, hello, good morning. He was always laughing, always smiling. He was always in a good mood. And no matter what tough target you gave him, we have this roofies. We go back on this garage roof and we shoot 40, 60 meters. And we said, listen, we do no roofies. And he was like, okay, what is this? And then we got up to the garage to see, now look, back there's a target. Okay. He wasn't, oh my God, it's far away. He said, okay. Yeah. And then he started shooting with a 15-pound snake bow and bamboo arrows, way too heavy. And he shot ballistic like crazy, but he hit the target because he didn't even think about, oh my, it's far away or whatever. We told him, listen, do this. Okay, we do this. Boom. Done.
Maybe this guys are calling target panic is this. You reached a level of hitting the target, a good level. You're hitting the target constantly, and you're overtrained, and then you get afraid to miss. You fear to miss.
Okay.
And
can be
because you're good like that, and some you get a kind of blockade, but it doesn't matter what it is. It is bullshit. It don't exist, in my opinion. Have you ever heard this from rifle shooters?
No.
They have the scope on target with the crosshair. They say, "Oh, I can't pull the trigger." No, no. Also not with a pistol shooter. It's not true. It should be also existing with firearm shooters, and I never heard about it.
That's true. Okay. Question answered.
So,
shall we leave it for today? 1 hour?
At least one.
Okay. Let me take the next. What's the topic next time? Shall we talk about this glorification of different styles or techniques or bows or that? Because what bugs me is we all shoot bow and arrow, no matter what. If it's an Olympic bow or long bow or horse bow, you shoot the arrow on the right, on the left side, whatever. We shoot all bow and arrow, but it's always like they find their niche, and then they only see this one anymore, and nothing else exists anymore.
It's like a religion.
Like a religion.
Yes. Like ideology.
Maybe we scratch.
And what separates nowadays the world is ideology and religions. And so we shouldn't do the same.
Exactly. So we unite the archers next time.
Yes, archers united.
And we agree again. Okay.
Oh, that's a horrible episode.
But when you see already where you come from and where I come from, and we come from really two very different places, I say, and we can find an agreement
from the German Reich. No, we can.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not. For me, thumb shooting, reflex bow, katra, and everything fancy, and you're the longbow, the saddle, the calm, we find agreements all the time, even if we have different opinions, but we accept each other. And this, I think, could be as a role model for all the archers, that they say, okay, listen, we should stick together and not fight against each other, like in every, all that is this partyism.
Yeah.
Nice topic.
Yeah.
Can we go
for it? And if you viewers have any questions, we are able to answer. Write us in the comments.
Exactly.
And subscribe to our channel.
No, that's of course.
To my channel, also to Armin's, of course.
No, subscribe to both channels and comment on both channels, please. And share the video, that even more people can. Very important. Yes, and because we need
and talk nice about us.
Yeah, this is as always say, you can give up thumbs up or give up thumbs down twice, because when you press this button twice, then it's
like in the arena, like in old Rome.
Yeah, exactly. But twice, because when you click it twice, then it disappears again.
A double click is a kill.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay,
great.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your time.
Yeah. Let's meet next week, same time.
Same time, same station. I'm ready.
Goodbye, and your viewers shoot straight and try to listen to our clever talkings.
Take care of yourself, shoot straight, and if you get something out of it, we are very happy.
Let us know about Sensei.
Exactly. We need new Sensei. We should invite him.
New Sensei, old Senseis and new Senseis.
Not a new Sensei. This guy.
I mean the old Sensei.
You're the old Sensei. You're older than me.
Okay. Goodbye, Armin. See you soon.
See you next time. Ciao, ciao.